And episode 142, and welcome into the Benches Clear podcast, where we cover the best rivalry in all of sports. I am Jesse Gutierrez, and I represent the side of the San Francisco Giants, who I was extremely depressed about the first series, and now the next series, they're going to win the whole thing, baby.
And I'm David Contreras, representing the Dodgers side, who just finished off a sweep of the Chicago White Sox, the lowly Chicago White Sox. So pretty excited about that. Now we move on to the rivalry.
The good stuff.
The good stuff.
But we're not going to go out of order, Dave. I know how much you want to, and you're begging for it. But the answer is no. Okay? We're going to stay in order.
That's right.
We're going to walk the line, and we're going to talk around the league because that's what we do here. And what we do is talk about benches clearing incidents. I think this is kind of in our wheelhouse because we share a mutual, I don't want to say hatred because you would have to really care about someone to hate it, but a mutual annoyance that the little cousin wants to get out of line and act like they're somebody. But we're talking about the Padres, obviously. Padres Nationals scuff up. What happened down there in San Diego, Dave? You're the expert in the situation.
I'm the expert.
Yeah, your feet's on the ground. You were there, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, pretty much. No, I think the series might mean a little bit more to some national players, seeing as though Mackenzie Gore and CJ Abrams were traded for Juan Soto. So
right.
Maybe there's a little more extra in there for them. So there's a little more emotion. I don't know. But I mean,
are you telling me that people actually care about series when they're not facing the Dodgers? I thought all they care about is the World Series against the Dodgers.
I guess they can play other World Series. I don't know.
All right.
But the point is, Jurickson Profar hit a game-winning double. He celebrated at home. Maybe he celebrated a little too much. I don't know. I don't think he did. I think if you're playing an intense game, that there's emotions riding high already in a game, and you come out on top when you thought you were going to lose it, then you can celebrate however the hell you want to celebrate. If the other team takes offense, that's on them. Like, beat them. If you beat them, then they don't celebrate. So the very next day, they plunk Jurickson Profar, benches clear. Nothing happens, but that's pretty much what happened.
So I feel like celebrations like that, like I don't care how crazy you get, like to get butthurt over it, I feel like is kind of soft. I like it when teams get angry about it and do the whole, Last Dance Michael Jordan thing. It's like, oh, I took it personal. Like, get mad about it and then go crazy on the field. Don't get mad about it and hit guys or be kind of like a bitch about it. Even Madison Bumgarner, who has the reputation for crying, and I get it, I understand that because he would get mad about celebrations, but he never hit anybody afterwards. He was just, I'm going to yell at you. And I don't know. I feel like that's better than getting butthurt and trying to hit somebody. I feel like that's like getting butthurt, like, all right, motherfucker, now I'm going to get you type situation.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. It's like the whole NBA thing where you're not allowed to shoot at the end of the game for some reason because it's showing up the opponent.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
Why? Like, dude, you lost the game. Like, you sucked. What is this another bucket going to do?
Try not to suck. That's actually an interesting strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him.
Yeah, hey, try to win the game, and then maybe the other team doesn't have to celebrate. Or
don't
piss you
be
off.
bad.
Don't be bad.
Interesting strategy there. But I mean, I think it seemed like there was no pushing. There was no real fighting. I mean, I know that situation with Keibert Ruiz after, was it right before Jurickson Profar got plunked, right?
It was right
he got in his face a little bit.
Yeah, I think the game hadn't even started yet. They were already jawing at each other.
So they get a little scuffle up, kind of. But when teams are still getting separated and you have CJ Abrams and Ha-Sung Kim joking with each other in the scrum, it's like, how serious is it though? How mad can you be?
I think it's pretty hilarious for the bullpen because they see it happening and they're like, all right, guys, let's go stretch out. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to risk an injury, first of all. And you're just jogging out there just to get, just to see what's going on. And then you have to walk all the way back. It's
100%.
Yeah. I will once again maintain that they need to get 2 designated fighters.
Okay.
Give them 30 seconds
hash it out, push it out, and then that's it.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like the NHL.
So basically, what you're saying
take off
is
your gear, Kabert. Take off your
Uh-huh.
gear. Jurickson, take off your helmet.
Right.
Let's go. Let's tussle. Whoever wins, that's it. Nobody gets thrown out, but that's it. And we move
Okay.
on.
So Tommy Pham's trade value just freaking skyrocketed at that point. It went from like, he might give us some offense, and he's decent on defense, I guess, if he's hot. And then just went to, well, he's going to be the mountain and just want to murder everybody.
You get one fight a game, and you get a designated fighter. It's a new
one fight a game.
Expand the rosters, a designated fighter.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
That'd be good times. It's rare that it's actually kind of rare. We've only been doing like one around the league lately, one topic, and this is a rare time because we got to talk really around the league. We got to talk about what's going on with baseball and why there's so many 500 teams. There's also something I do want to talk about. We talked a little bit before we hopped on about how I was told that the National League is so bad because there's only 7 teams that are
6.
There are 6 teams that are above 500.
Yes.
And that's terrible. That's so bad. And it is. There's so many teams that are under 500, flirting with 500, all that kind of stuff. But if you look at the American League, they have 7 teams that are over 500. So this isn't just a National League problem. I know that's what the baseball media of America wants to tell you. But stay woke, kids, all right? The American League sucks too.
But,
remember that.
Okay, so you think that more teams are not. What league ends up with more 500 teams? It's the better question.
The American League, but by 1.
No, I think they've got a couple, man. I think
don't.
The Rays aren't staying under 500. They're 1 game under. They're not staying there. The Astros are not.
I don't know. They've been pretty bad this season.
The Astros are 40-40. They've
been coming up. Yeah, they've actually had they have been very bad to start out the year, and they're going to come up. But you could say the same thing for the National League. Sorry, the Padres are going, but the Diamondbacks are the National League champions, and they added they're not a terrible team either. The New York Mets still have dudes on their team. It's not like it's, I don't know. Pittsburgh Pirates, yeah, we kind of talked about them. They don't really have, their starting rotation is amazing. But other than that, they don't really have anything that really sticks out. When San Francisco when we get our starting pitcher, and I'm not trying to be that guy. Okay, I understand depth is a part of your team. I'm not going to cry about it. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of starting pitching that's coming off the IL. So I think that we're going to be above 500. I think it's going to be good. I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah. See, but that's the beauty of baseball. Anybody can beat anybody any given day.
Right.
You were talking about the Yankees. Well, we weren't talking about that, but the Yankees are one of the best teams in the National League, and you wouldn't know it the way they've been playing against the Mets lately. So it sucks because all these teams that are spending and whatever, it doesn't matter. Once they get into the postseason,
right,
anybody can win. And with the teams being so mid, one of those mid teams is going to get there this year. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. And I think this is a baseball problem. Now, that's what I'm saying. I keep hearing about how bad the National League is, and I understand because I watch National League, obviously, all the time. I don't watch a whole lot of American League. But when you look at the standings, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like we're kind of playing the same song and dance. I don't think the National League is that far behind the American League. There's definitely an argument that the American League is better, but I don't know, dude. It seems like our teams that were supposed to be really bad aren't that bad. You look at the Nationals, they're not that bad. The Mets, who were supposed to be tearing it down, are not that bad. The Pirates, who are supposed to be terrible, called up a couple of guys, and they are not bad.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that the mediocrity is due to injuries, maybe?
No, I think the mediocrity is honestly due to how the playoff format is. And I think a lot of teams literally don't give a fuck about the regular season anymore. Like, to where it's like, well, why am I going to hurt myself to injure myself? Like, we're going to make, like, if you look at like the Dodgers and the Braves, they were always on pace to winning 100 games. They were well over 100 games. And it's not like that this year, because I feel like they're just like, who cares? Why do I have to win 100 games? Like, there's no benefit to it. Like, let's just coast, put it in freaking cruise mode, get through the season, and just be in the playoffs healthy. I mean, there's a lot of teams that can't play that game, but I think the top tier teams are, in a sense, giving away wins because they don't care about the regular season anymore, because it doesn't mean shit.
I mean, I think you could say that about teams that spend money and can withstand injuries, but like the other side of the coin, the Giants are missing Snell. They're missing a lot of pitching. If
the Giants are not one of those teams. No.
If you had some of that pitching, I don't think you're under 500. Maybe I'm wrong. The who else? Like, the Yankees missed Cole for a while. I know they had a bunch of pitchers, but the Astros were missing a bunch of pitchers. They missed Verlander, Framber. They had injuries. The Rays are missing McClellan.
At the moment we have like 2 starting pitchers right now, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
The Rangers just got back. Max Scherzer. Right. So I mean, there's a lot of big injuries around the league. So it might do something with that too. I mean, some teams can withstand injuries, like the Dodgers. Sure, they got a lot of depth. The Braves, they've been able to do it. But then you got like the Padres, who are missing Musgrove, Darvish, the Cardinals. Right. Well, I don't know if the Cardinals just suck, but the Mets were missing players too. Like, so I don't know. Could be injuries too. That's why we're have such mid teams this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's the jury's out. I think it's going to get real hairy when it becomes the end of the season, and there's like 7 teams that are tied for that last wild card spot, and it's like, how are we going to figure this thing out? Because there's no 163 anymore. Everything's.
I'm all for that chaos.
Yeah, I would honestly be all for that chaos if there was still a 163, like that situation, but there's not. And I hate that. I hate that the teams are going to, there's going to be teams that win on technicality, because of, record against the division and then, who scored the most runs. So who, the best run differential. So it's like who really killed it during blowout games, I don't know. I hate that part of the game, but at the same time, I guess that last wild card spot, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs anyways. I know that's crazy to say, because if the Giants get in, it's probably going to be because of that last wild card spot. But that last wild card spot shouldn't be there. That's just too much. I honestly was a big fan of the wild card game, and it being, just that one extra team. This second extra team is just, it's just crazy. It's rough, and it's just too much. And they want to extend it even more. So let's really hope.
Let's move on from that.
Let's move on from that. Basically, all we want you to know is the American League sucks as well as the National League as a whole. Baseball is suffering because of this thing. But let's forget about baseball, because let's talk about the teams that we actually care about. A lot of stuff has happened between the Dodgers and the Giants. What was the first series of the week for you guys?
This week this week. Yeah.
2 series. What was the series before last?
We only had 1 series because we didn't play on Sunday. And so we played
your
the White
weekend
Sox.
series, I guess.
It was the Angels, but it was a 2-game series.
Yeah.
It was
We didn't talk about that. Let's talk about the Angels.
We split that. Shohei hit a bomb into both games.
Oh, we got to hear about Shohei all the freaking time. All my alerts from MLB are Shohei did this, Shohei did that. Shohei's unreal.
You might not want to be here for the stud and dud of the week. Then I'm just going to let you right now.
I'm sorry to cut you off because this is your time, and I get it. But when I get a notification that says Shohei is unreal when he just hits a home run, it's like, you're kind of diminishing it at this point. Like, next year when you want to do that, when he pitches like 6 shutout and hits a home run in the same game, Shohei is unreal. 100%. I will give that to you 1,000 times down. That is unreal. Hitting a long home run that happens multiple times a week.
Does it? because
Yes.
he was thrust into the leadoff role, and it was like back-to-back home runs, both games. So yeah, pretty amazing.
That's good. That's very good, but it's done before.
But
I think
anyways,
Denard Span has done that before.
Who?
So, Denard Span is a Giant, forever Giant.
I
Denard
know.
Span, so.
Yeah. So they split with the Angels, and then they swept the White Sox.
Okay.
And Shohei impressing with the bat as usual. He's gonna win the MVP, just being a freaking DH.
No way.
Gavin Stone, dude, he just continues to like. I know he's not gonna win the Rookie of the Year. I know there's sexier names out there.
Right.
I know Skeens probably wins it if they don't shut him down, or even if they do, he might have.
If they do, yeah, with that name,
he might have the numbers.
He's dating the TikTok queen, right? So
yeah, I think
no
he
way.
wins it. But I mean, it's super impressive what Gavin Stone has done. Just like lock down that spot in the rotation, and so we get a day off tomorrow to prepare for the rivals, the San Francisco Giants.
Gigantes. Yeah, I mean, Gavin Stone, great dude. Hopefully we can get him back on. That'd be great, huh? Maybe he doesn't forget about the little guys. Or,
I love his attitude.
Little, so.
I love his attitude. They were trying to interview him after the game today, and they go, "Hey man, you pitched a complete game shutout. You can crack a smile." He's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'll do it in the clubhouse."
He pitched a complete game shutty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big ups to Gavin Stone. Yeah. Well, I feel like this is going to get...
Let's go move on to the darker side of the podcast. We're moving on to you.
Right. I feel like this is going to be the opposite of like the wedding singer of the song where, he's happy and then depressed. It was the opposite of that. It was a very depressing first series where we got swept by the St. Louis Cardinals. And we know why. We know the issue. And I sent out a tweet that was very depressing and very emo boy. And I kind of stand by it at that time about how, like, I don't see them, like, their season is done. With their schedule coming up, there's no way they could really recover from this because they got swept by the freaking Cardinals, the team that you're trying to chase right now. Isn't that great? You had them on the ropes a couple of times, like,
music to my ears, man. On one side, I'm like, oh yeah, music to my ears. On the other side, I'm like, what the hell are we going to talk about? Like, he's just going to be depressed the whole rest of the way.
Yes. Feel sorry for me. I'm a really sad boy. Sad boy. But that's the thing. There's no real like guy who's carrying the offense. And no one is really like super on fire like Heliot Ramos was. So people are kind of talking about how the offense is not that great or whatever. But if you look at that series, they scored 5, 4, and 3. The Giants are not built to score 6, 7 runs a game. If the Giants score 5 or 4 runs a game, that's a win. And the way they're built, because they're built on starting pitching, they're built on a solid bullpen, and we're trying to score as many runs as possible just to scratch the win. How many times, like last year, if they scored 3 runs, you would be thinking, "Oh shoot, we're probably going to win." Like that's kind of the way you're meant to think. So the offense is holding up its end of the bargain. 5, 4, and 3. It's just I don't even think the bullpen is even that bad. It's just the problem is they're doing like 3 bullpens a game, right? 3 bullpen games a week right now because they only have 2 starting pitchers right now. So that's the issue. There is some light at the end of the tunnel. I know there was some Blake Snell comments about, hey, I'm not going to come back till I'm ready, and that's smart. You got to do what you got to do. Frankly,
take the rest of the year off, big dog. Take the rest of the year off. Get right.
and frankly, I don't want him to come back shitty either. I mean, how much help was he at the beginning of the year when he wasn't ready to come back and he's just blowing games? So yeah, let him get ready. Know that there's guys coming in a minute, but at one, after that series, I'm thinking, well, if they're going to take that long, yeah, they're going to be better at the end of the season. But it's like, how much room how much are they going to have to gain? How much ground are they going to have to gain just to get back into the playoff conversation when there's this many teams in the playoff conversation? And
in spring training, it's super important. Like it
is important.
it's
let's not pretend that spring training is not important.
Let it be a lesson to the, you know,
Let's-
Garrett Cole got injured and he got pummeled his last outing, but he didn't have a spring training. And we're seeing with Blake Snell how he's struggling too. So,
that was. I thought you were talking shit. I didn't know that was genuine. Okay, my fault. Sorry. So that's where I was after the Cardinals sweep. It was there. Right now, I mean, we're coming into the eighth inning in the Giants game right now. They're up 3-4.
Update.
So, you know, if they pull it off, if they hold this lead, you know, they're technically would be going for the sweep of the Cubs tomorrow. And if they pull off the sweep, they will be only instead of 6 games under 500. If you're doing your math correctly, if you pass first grade math, you'd only be 2 games under 500.
I did.
And with this gauntlet coming up, it's Dodgers, Braves. This is all before the All-Star break. Dodgers, Braves, Guardians, Blue Jays, and Twins. So we got a first place team, one of the best, you know, run teams in baseball in the Braves. I know they're not leading the division, but they're still obviously they're very good. The Guardians, who have the best record, I think, a best winning percentage in the American League. The Blue Jays, yeah, they're having a terrible season, but they got guys, so that's a thing. And then the Twins, who are leading their division. So it's like, oh no, wait, no, they're not leading their division, but they're very good this year. So,
well, look, man, I don't want to give you hope, but it just seems to me that every time you think that they're not going to do good, they seem to somehow step up. And so maybe they're like the Dodgers. They need to play like a better team to like be more focused. I don't know. So who knows, man?
That hasn't really worked for us because we've gotten the shit kicked out of us by the Dodgers. We got the shit kicked out of us by the Phillies. We got the shit. So I'm not sure if I can get that.
That's true.
And the worst part is I can't fake it. How many times have I been like, oh, I've cracked the code. Okay, I got to say they're going to be bad and they're going to be good. And I say they're going to be bad and they just are bad. So I have to actually feel like there's no hope. And I feel that way. I mean, there's a little bit of hope because if they do end up sweeping the Cubs in a 4-game sweeper, then I don't know that. I mean, I don't see it being crazy that they go 500 during this gauntlet. And if they stay around, you know, 2 games under, 3 games under, you know, maybe even somehow gain a game in this gauntlet and 1 game under or at 500, I think we're sitting pretty. But you know, we could also be counting chickens right now because by the end of this podcast, I could just be saying, fuck, they lost it. Fuck. So,
but
we shall see.
So is this more exciting for teams that like are middle of the pack? Or is it more frustrating because you're like, dude, just go one way or another. Stop freaking holding me hostage. Like, you're good one day, you're shitty the next. I don't know what's gonna happen. But because the whole National League is so bad,
right,
we're still in it.
I think the best thing about if you're a Giants fan, you've been this way for the past 2 years. So you know what it's like to be mid. I mean, and not only that, that's how the Giants have been probably since 2018, I think. No, maybe 2019. Obviously, take out 2021, but they're always right at around 500, a little under, a little over. You know, all we just need is one good week and we're back in this thing. All we need is one good week and we're back in this thing. And then it just never comes. So, you know, it seems like if any fan base is equipped to handle just being mid for a very long time, it's the Giants fan base. So it's very frustrating to answer your question that you asked about 20 minutes ago. It's frustrating. So
yeah, that's probably what I figured too. Like there's no consistency, so you're always annoyed one way or another.
Well, technically, if you think about it, being 500 is the most consistent you can be.
I guess.
If you think about it.
But I don't want to think about it. I'm not even going to spend a
friends.
second on it, so I'm going to move on. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, so that's Giants baseball in a nutshell. You're up, you're down. We'll see what happens, obviously, but it's, I don't know. And it brings us to, I think, the trade deadline a little bit. This is still a little too early. We're not even in June yet. We don't know what's going to happen during this. I mean, the Giants could literally go on a 7-game losing streak, and then I could be wanting to jump off a bridge and we're done. So, if we were to talk a little bit about trades, if I were to give like a prediction, if we're gonna sell or buy or sell, I think that they're too far in to sell if they're around 500. So I'm gonna say they are gonna buy, but they are gonna buy super low. I don't see them trading for like a Bo Bichette. I don't see, and then there's obviously upgrades you can make, like, Pete Alonso is probably going to be out there, but you're not going to sit Wilmer Flores.
He probably won't be out there, man. This National League has been so mad that they're back in the race.
True. And that's another funny thing too, because you look at these trade deadline like predictions and it'll be like someone, a beat writer from the Cardinals will talk about how, they need to trade for, Pete Alonso. And then Mets fans are like, we're one game out of a wild card spot. So why would we trade? You know what I mean? So, yeah. But I mean, in all honesty, I feel like it's the Mets' plan to go downhill. I think they're going to fire sell because I think Steve Cohen's ready to blow it up because he's looking forward to the next season or two. So I think Pete Alonso's gone. He would be an obvious upgrade to what we got as far as power and all that kind of stuff. I know it wouldn't be on defense and on base percentage because I love Lamont Wade Jr., but that's what I'm saying. The Giants aren't going to let go of Lamont Wade Jr. The Giants aren't going to let go of Wilmer Flores. The only thing they could do to really upgrade is a shortstop, which I don't think they're going to give up any big chips for a big shortstop. Why would you in this mid of a season? But I think that they will add to the bullpen. I don't think it's crazy to think they're just going to get someone who's a little hot. I know Hunter Strickland's having a good year, but they also are getting a guy that they signed in Warren. They signed in the offseason who's coming off the 60-day IL, at some point this year. So they're probably going to use that as their, that's like our trade deadline piece because he hasn't been on the team all year, which I hate it when they use that fucking excuse too. But I see them maybe trading for like a decent bullpen piece. Maybe like doesn't have good numbers but has good underlying numbers, or like, oh man, we really like his slider and it could go either good or bad. So that's where I see it.
Isn't that the worst when you're like waiting for news of your team to break and the deadline's over and you're like, oh, but other deals are gonna like trickle down. So let's just, and then you get the quote where it's like
never comes in, and
you get the quote where it's like, well, we believe in the guys in that clubhouse, so we're gonna ride with what we got, and you're like, son of a.
You're gonna freaking corporate sentence me, huh?
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen in Dodger land over there with the confetti jerseys?
I think they make a move. I don't know if it's gonna be a huge name move. I know they're interested in some big names like Robert and Crochet and all that.
Right.
I think they're gonna settle for like a smaller move. I don't think it's smaller, but I think like a Jack Flaherty would be a good pickup if Yamamoto's gone for the year. And I think the target's got to be Bichette. I think if they go for a shortstop or a bat, I think it's got to be him.
Right.
But I don't know. If it's not him, maybe a Rosa Buena from the Rays, who's having another down year. He's having a down year, man.
I know, but Randy Rosarena is my guy. So.
And we need a Mexican on the team. Another Mexican on the team. Yeah.
I get it.
I would love
that. But that's why he's my guy. And I feel like I can't have him on the Dodgers.
I think you're selling low on that guy, too, because he's having such a bad year. So I don't know if they do it, but it's Tampa, and they have a good relationship. They have traded before. So I could see it. So that would be my prediction. Flaherty, a Rosa Buena, and a Arroz con Leche, and
Arroz con Leche.
And some reliever. And that's a solid deadline for the Dodgers if they do that.
Randy Rosarena, the Cuban Mexican.
That's right. That'd be pretty
I'm
dope
checking-
to see him in left field out there, man. That'd be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I mean that's one thing that I was really hoping the Giants traded for him this because they were like, we're gonna make a bunch of big moves, and they did. They signed a bunch of guys, and it was a thing of they wanted to set to have their star, and sometimes their star isn't necessarily a star where he's top 5 in all the categories offensively, but just has a personality. And I mean, think about it. When it came to Giants fans, everyone had the panda hats, did the giraffe hats for Belt, did the milkman thing for Melky Cabrera when he was having that great year in 2012. I mean, how many people would be wearing cowboy boots at Oracle Park? Like, I really want
this and doing the pose.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know. It's like one of those things where it's like, well, you don't have to pay 100% for his production, but you're going to get some of the,
But
the marketing from it.
It's just such a weird year because even the guys that are like on the trade market are not having good years.
Right.
Like Luis Robert is not having a great year. I wouldn't say like he's
right.
You're getting what he
hurt.
could be. Yeah, and he gets hurt and injury prone dude. Bichette is having a down year. Like we just said, Randy's having a down year. So like Crochet is going to be on inning limit. So I don't know. I don't know who's out there that's going to be traded. That I don't know. Just a weird year, I think.
Well, and Randy Rosarena is a free agent in 2027. So he's got 2 more years after this year. That's what I was also looking up.
So you're paying for his time. Yeah, like so it's not going to be that cheap, but
right.
You're
right.
I don't know. We'll get more clarity when we get closer to the deadline.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more teams that'll be out of it by then, but it's a weird year so far.
It's very clear that it's a seller's market, right? And so I think that maybe there might be a team that just really turns left and is like, sells the fan base of, hey, we're calling up a bunch of guys. We believe in these young guys, and we're getting some guys. We're a year early. Let's just see where this takes us. And they just get a huge return for guys. But in a couple weeks, I'm sure we'll do something special. We'll figure something out, right?
I mean, I'm sure after the deadline, the Dodgers will have a new closer, Duvall. So they'll get him.
Actually, I heard Duvall is actually really bad. He has a bad whip, so he's terrible.
So we can get him for cheap.
He's not going to cost you anything. He is just like, hey, take his contract. We'll even, we'll pull a Rockies and we'll pay you to take him, like they did with Arenado. So
you just want him for the vibes, dude, and that entrance. That's it.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, if you talk to Giants fans, he's terrible. I mean, you can't just make it easy. He can't just strike all 3 guys out. Like, why can't he just do that?
Are you even a closer if you don't get 3 straights out?
It's ridiculous.
On 9 pitches.
Like, what are you doing out there? Yeah. Letting guys hit the bat. I mean, swing the bat. But I think the people have been waiting long enough to hear the greatest song in the world. But I think it's time to move on, that we do studs and duds. Dave, what do you think?
Let's do it.
Hit.
It's that time again. It's the start of the dud of the week. It's the start of the dud of the week.
Dave, it is not a good time for me. Okay.
No, I'm just kidding, but it's not a good time for you because what? What's going on? What's going on, buddy?
I was riding the wave, man. You want to take it for a take it. I almost liked it. But it's not a good time because my dud is Tyro Estrada this week, right? And he's hitting 177. It's just not a good time out there for him. And it's come out that he is banged up, that he is like really nursing a bunch of stuff and like in has a bunch of ice bags on him after games. I think I heard a writer talking about on a podcast, and it's like, I don't know, dude, if you're struggling this hard and you're that hurt, there's guys that are doing pretty decent. I mean, Brett Wisely can play second base, and he's a good second baseman. David Villar, who actually hit a home run today, big shout out to David Villar, he could play some second base. Give out Nick Ahmed, those games at shortstop. Maybe even call Marco Luciano and see how he's doing. You know, he's been taking some time at second base. My thing is Tyro, if you're not 100% good, why don't you just go on the IL? You know, this is not like a starting pitching situation where it's like, dude, we need a body. We need someone to take over innings, which I'm sorry to not mention Hayden Birdsong was called up, but that, you know, I'll somehow figure that to talk about that a little bit later. But all I'm saying is Tyro, go on the IL, get healthy. There's guys that are able to hit better than you're hitting right now, and just get right. It's cool. We're good. That's it.
But we just talked about how, your team needs to be more consistent. And now you want to get rid of you think you can handle without him?
Yeah, because there's a surplus of those type of infielders right now. Like I said, Brett Wisely's been swinging it pretty good. Nick Ahmed is a very good glove, and he could do what Tyro's doing right now, hit it, at the bat. So if we take a couple weeks off, Tyro gets right, and then he comes back and is on fire. I think that's the best way to go. Like I said, if this was like a starting pitching situation, it's like, yo, we need a body. Like, we have only 2 starting pitchers, so yeah, we might need you a little hurt. I get that. But right now, outfielders and middle infielders, I think we're good right now.
All right.
That's just my plea, Tyro. Get better, dude. Come on.
I think we're in a similar boat.
Okay.
I think my dud is sadly Will Smith. He has like
Again?
2 hits. Yeah, he has like 2 hits, but I don't know. Today he was given the day off. They said to work on something mechanical with his swing. I'm hoping that's what it is. I'm hoping he's not hurt. But again, it's like it's the catcher. I'm not gonna. He is a top 3 catcher in the league. But again, like anything you get out of the catcher offensively,
Right.
it's just like cherry on the top. But I get it. When you don't have Muncy and you don't have Mookie and you are dependent on him bringing in some runs, it kind of hurts. It
Right.
hurts a little bit. So hopefully he gets right, and hopefully he gets right in San Francisco. Hopefully he busts out of it there. But for now, I'm going to give it to him.
And unfortunately, that's what usually effing happens, especially when he hits against friggin'
He just needs
Tyler
to see
Rogers.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez.
That'll fix everything.
But I'm gonna bring up my stud now because I'm so big on this guy. I freaking love this dude, and I feel like, which is kind of crazy because you just took a third called strike right down the freaking middle, and it's really frustrating. But I love me some Patrick Bailey, and what he's been doing with he's a defense first guy. He is going to be in the Gold Glove conversation for many years. But with the bat right now, he had a really big home run. To break up the no-hitter in St. Louis. I know it didn't end up meaning anything, but they came back within one and they really fought. So he's getting big hits when they need it. He's consistent, hitting over 300 this week with a 800 OPS. So, you can't complain about that, especially when he's giving you such good defense behind the plate. But I do want to mention him also because this dude has literally the best pop time in baseball. He should be getting, he should be throwing runners out, no problem. But turns out the Giants pitching can't hold runners on for shit. The guys that were running all over him were just dudes that are catchers, dudes that are just not base stealers at all. And it seems like they have been turning it around this week. In this Cubs series, they've been really changing the game. It's Patrick's not throwing anybody out because they're just picking guys off because they're getting crazy leads and they're getting they're going way too early. So hopefully it's gonna change some things. But I wanted to give him some love because
And this is your stud?
that is my stud.
It sounds like you're like the dud the way you're talking about him.
No, I'm saying that the pitchers aren't helping him out. So what I'm saying is he literally has the best pop time in baseball, but the problem is the starting pitch is not helping him out. Patrick Bailey is stealing so many fucking strikes for you all game. So why don't you just pick some guy? And they have been the past couple days. So I'm not going to complain, but I'm just saying.
And it could change because I remember last year the Dodgers had like nobody couldn't hold anybody but Kershaw. Nobody could hold any runners, and they gave Barnes and they gave Smith like no chance.
Right.
It was like they got the ball and there was like zero chance. So yeah, it'll change. It's just on the pitchers to be quicker and hold the runners
The
a little bit
GOAT,
more.
Austin
But,
Barnes, huh?
but my stud, I'm gonna go co-studs.
Austin Barnes.
I'm gonna go co-studs, man, because I'm gonna give it to Shohei Ohtani. And not the pitcher. That'll be next year, but I'm talking about the hitter, man. Like, this guy is just incredible. The marvelous one. Hitting leadoff home. They put him in the leadoff spot. He does whatever you need. He hits leadoff home runs, gives you a first inning lead. And then, you got Gavin Stone, man, who I can't talk enough about. He's just been great. Such an anchor in the rotation. I think his ERA is even lower than Glasnow's right now. So he's been really, really good. And I think they both deserve a shout out. They've been amazing. Keep it up. Shohei needs to keep it up in San Francisco. Gavin won't pitch in that series, but Shohei should tell them to go get it out of the ocean. All 3 games. I need that. I need it.
Ocean. It's a cove. It's a fucking cove, Dave. So
That's just better. That's just being disrespectful to the rival.
2 things. This is a Dodger situation. I did not bring up Hayden. Let's talk about just Hayden really quick, because I feel like what we're about to talk about is going to strike a chord and we're going to get into some stuff. I want to give big ups to Hayden Birdsong, who was called up because we literally have 2 starting pitchers. Came up, gave 5 solid innings against the Cubs. 3 runs, not the greatest, but not the worst. He's called up way too early. This guy is going to be a freaking star. He's 22 years old. Should not have been called up when he is, but the Giants need him, and he answered the bell, gave him a chance to win. And, we're in the bottom of the 9th. Doval's in, 1 out. So hopefully it's enough to make it. So there was that. And then it was so weird. The comeback for Willie Mays, Remembrance Day. First of all, it was awesome. Everyone wearing 24 was really cool. Ramos had a big game, had an over-the-shoulder catch. It was so poetic. And it was almost like winning that game on a walk-off was like, you're about to win the race in Mario Kart 64, and someone pulls their cord because they're mad and the game freezes. Like, yeah, they won, and it can't be really disputed, but at the same time, it just wasn't like satisfying. You know what I mean?
I kind of like when you want to strike somebody out and you want them to swing, but they half swing, but you still win and you move on in the playoffs. Something like that.
And then you get knocked out the next round. Yeah, that would suck.
I'm just talking about the winning series, but yeah.
I think it was the Braves who won the series after that.
I think for the fans, it might not be as satisfying, but I think for the players, they don't care. The win is a win. But you kind of want to you want to see that ball land on the green and some sort of pass and just be like, yeah. The walk-off walk is kind of like, yay. But a win is a win.
Win is a win, and the Giants just won. So we are 3 wins against the Cubs tomorrow. We go for the sweep. Everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna sweep, and everything's gonna be all right. But I'm gonna say something, because you brought this up a couple times. I don't know if this is gonna open a can of corn. Maybe you might be a smart guy and actually agree with me and not be such a homer. But let's see. There is 0 chance that Shohei Ohtani wins MVP this year.
Who beats him?
Who beats him? Someone that plays actual effing defense.
Okay, so name me who.
Well, I didn't do this.
Because
just came up. This just came up. I didn't go through all the numbers. Okay.
I think
Aaron
the
Judge
only
hit 30 home runs. He was technically on the Giants for 7 minutes last year. So half those home runs are going to be here. So it'll be fine. He's going to win MVP.
I think Bryce Harper is the only name I've heard, because he's been crazy this year too. But we'll see if he can keep it up. I think if the numbers are equal and he's playing defense, then maybe, but
exactly. The thing is I feel like I just the reason, and I'm not doing this to sound like a hater. I know I'm going to sound like a hater, and I do sound like a hater. I get it. But the reason he's not going to win MVP is the reason that he wins is probably going to win MVP the next 5 years, because it's not just about offensive stats. Like there has to be other, like a DH. You have to have, for a DH to win MVP, you have to be so far above someone who plays defense, because you just sit on your butt for a while, then you hit. I know that makes it sometimes harder to hit, but at the same time, you're not taking that wear and tear. I don't know. I would, if Bryce Harper is even close to him, I would give it to Bryce Harper. I mean, Shohei has 25 home runs. He has 20.
Let me see. I don't know Bryce Harper's
322,
stats.
305.
I don't know his fielding percentage or any of that. I'd have to check that. But
Freddie Freeman is hitting 299. Oh, 12 home runs. Yeah. I would say Bryce Harper. I would take Bryce Harper over, because here's the thing. Shohei Ohtani is going to win MVP, like I said, probably for the next 3 years after this, because even if he is an above average, a little above average pitcher, that is so much fucking value to do that and be a good hitter. That puts him so far ahead of anybody else. So when he's just DHing, I feel like that's going to hurt him, and it should. So I get it. Shohei Ohtani, probably going to be MVP the next 2 or 3 years after that, but he cannot win it this year. Suck it.
I don't buy it. I don't think so. I think you're talking about a guy in DH, which is already difficult as it is. Like, you got to sit down and like just wait your turn to hit. And the fact that he's doing it so consistent, like it's nothing, like he's not losing any flow in the game. Like usually you need to play defense to stay engaged in the game and all this, but not him. Just seems to be doing fine. Every time he's up there, he's a threat. They said something in the broadcast that was really fascinating about him. Like in the beginning of the year, he was like swinging at everything, had no self-control. And they're like, when he sets his mind to do something, he does it. And in the last couple games, less chasing, and you see it, more home runs, more RBIs. So it'll be close, I think, but not really. I'm gonna give it to Shohei. I think he's gonna get it.
Of course, you're gonna give it to Shohei.
Unless there's an injury to either guy, I'm still going Shohei. Like, it's so impressive just as a DH. So I don't know. I'd give it to him.
I think that makes it less impressive if you're a DH.
He's it's not like the guy's playing a huge position. He's playing first base. Like, is it?
I mean, the ball getting thrown to him all the time. I mean, I feel like first base is an underrated defensive position, because you have to pick so many balls, and you don't pick one ball. And
but again, I need to see how good defensively he is. If he's just the middle of the pack defensive guy, then that's nothing.
I would give it to him still if it's middle of the pack. If he's a liability on defense, then yes, I see what you're saying. But that's an iffy on that one. I'm gonna have to give you iffiness on that.
So
I'm sorry.
We'll see. We'll see if either of them trail off. Like, if that happens, then easily Shohei. And if Shohei falters, then easily Bryce Harper. So it'll be a fun, exciting second half of the season. And I just think he's getting stronger and healthier as the year goes on, because this guy's still, dude, he's doing this while rehabbing on Tommy John. Like,
it is impressive. I'm not trying to downplay how impressive it is and how impressive Shohei Ohtani is. I'm really not. But I'm also saying that he is only a DH, and if we're giving him all, and I was on this podcast in the Judge / Trout MVP wars, swearing that Ohtani should be MVP because of his pitching and hitting. So if he's just hitting, that diminishes it a lot to me. So,
see, but that's different though, because you're talking about two guys. You're talking about two guys that are amazing defensively. You're talking about Trout, who goes out there and does amazing plays, But when you're talking about a first baseman, like, it's not the same. It's not.
It
really
is a little though, because you're actually still playing and you're hitting hops. I get it. We'll have to look at defensive metrics, and we'll do that when it gets to that time. We'll fight MVPs, and we'll get to that.
I'm not saying you're wrong at all, because you're making good points, and I do agree with you that if
give it to me,
if the numbers are similar and he's playing the field, then yeah, I think. But if Shohei is above him pretty
significantly, yes, I'll get, like, if it's like,
you gotta give it to him, despite
a 10 home run difference and like a 15-20, in difference in average, then at least 20 an average, and there's other stuff, then it's like, he has to be way better and not just close.
And it helps that both guys are playing with really potent offenses, so they get a lot of opportunities.
Yep, 100%.
So we'll see. But yeah, it's a good conversation. I think later on.
Thank you. I'm the best. So next week we got the Dodgers are coming to town, and then we face the Braves. Man, this week is rough. If we could go 500 on this, and we're also we need to win tomorrow's game. It's almost a must-win tomorrow against the Cubs, the last game. And then I'm really hoping for a 500 week against the Dodgers and Braves. I don't know how realistic that is. The Dodgers have the Giants number this year. It's been ugly, but hopefully that means we're due for a series win somehow. And, we could, maybe just lose a series. I don't know. 500 week is what I'm hoping and praying for. Dave.
Man, the Dodgers have a lot of off days, man. They just had one before the series. They're going to have one tomorrow. They're going to have one after the next series. So we play the Giants off day.
Hey-o.
Then we play the Diamondbacks and the Brewers, but we'll just stick to the first two series. I think those games are always tough, regardless. There's always rivalry games are always intense. And even if you think the Dodgers are playing well, like something will happen where it's a tight game, we go to extras or something, or we don't score, the pitching's really good. So those three games should be good, should be fun, but I feel like we should be able to take at least two, especially since you guys don't have all your pitchers. I don't know the matchups yet. So if it's Webb and I don't know. But
it is Webb. Webb's going to pitch. Hicks is not going to pitch. So I don't know. Spencer Howard had a pretty good game. So I'm hoping Spencer Howard's probably going to have a game. It's probably going to be Webb. Technically a bullpen game with a lot of Spencer Howard, and then an actual bullpen game. That's probably what it's going to be.
And I hate those bullpen games because
me too.
Like
they're the worst.
I know the guys that you hate them because the guys that come in, but I hate them because you can't really like get a feel for each pitcher. It's a new one each inning. You know what I mean? So it's hard to like. So those games are always tough. Everybody thinks like, oh, it's a bullpen game, you should win, but it's like, no. I mean, they're throwing from different angles. Every guy that comes in, it's not.
100%. But when you're having a bullpen game 2 times in a series and you see those guys over and over, it makes it a little easier.
Yeah. So. 2 games in a row, that's a little different. But so yeah, I'm hoping 2 out of 3. And from the Diamondbacks, I don't know, man. We either sweep them or they like sweep us. So hopefully 2 out of 3. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping for a 4-6 week.
4-6 week. That is insanity.
I mean, 4 out of 6.
4 out of 6. I was gonna say that's more days than in the week. But it is the last Dodger Giant, but this is the last Dodger Giant series in Oracle. So we're actually gonna hang out. We're gonna go live on Saturday, right? I think we're talking about doing from the 6th inning on.
Yes.
Right? Or 5th inning on.
Yeah.
Just come and hang out with us. We're gonna tell you when we're live. It might be the 5th, might be the 6th. If it's a blowout game, maybe we just do the 6th. If it gets really close and things are good, 5th or 6th inning, I'm sure we're going to post it on the socials. So make sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform, as well as YouTube. Follow us on socials, Instagram, Benches Cleared P, TikTok, Benches Cleared, and Twitter, Benches Cleared P. I think I got all that right, but if you find one, you can find the rest of them, and we'll let you know what day we're going to be live. So come and hang out with us, talk some shit so we can talk back to you. It's going to be great. Dave, what do you got?
All of that. Come and join us. Talk shit to Jesse. I'll talk back with you to Jesse.
Yes.
So let's do it.
We're going to be in person for the first time. So that means we're going to be a fight to the death in my garage.
Yes.
And we'll see what happens.
There might only be one of us on the live.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is I do have trap doors in my house. So my son might just come out of a trap door and help me if I start losing. But, we'll figure it out. We'll go from there. But you'll see it. You'll see it live.
And then that's
what I'm talking about. But yes, thank you guys so much for listening. And come hang out with us on Saturday. And if you don't, that's cool because we'll be here next week and we'll do that too.
Thank you. We appreciate all the guys, everybody that listens. And thank you. We'll see you next week.
Next week and Saturday. Because you're coming. You're committed.